Here we go again, man. Blackfeather Talk Show. This is the host, BlkJesus. I got my homeboy online, Young L. You there? Let me know what's going on, man. What you doing today, man? How you feeling, man? What's your outlooks on history right now? I want to know what you think about what's going on as far as the history of the United States being told. What you think? You think we getting the whole truth?
So we got a lot of truth. Too long. Time to need the rest of our people to come up and gain knowledge. Like knowledge. Spread it amongst the people. Been bamboozled, man.
I agree. We have been bamboozled. We have been lied to. I'm going to read to you a little bit of Verrazano's journey. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what it was. I'm going to read the title and all that to you. This is the written voyage of 1524 of Giovanni de Verrazzano, as recorded in a letter to Francis I, who was the King of France, July the 8th, 1524. So this is the 1500s, and this is adapted from a translation by Susan Terrell of the Colliery Codex and Lawrence C. Ross Educations. ED rather. The Voyages of Giovanni de Verrazzano from 1524 to 1528 at Yale University, registered 1970, from page 133 to page 143. And the part I'm finna read is the third paragraph. Alright, here we go. As it appeared to be rather low-lying, having approached within a quarter of a league, we realized that this place was inhabited, for huge fires had been built on the seashore. We saw that the land stretched southward and coasted along it in search of some port where we might dock our ship and investigate the nature of the land. But in 50 leagues, we found no harbor or place where we could stop our ships. Seeing that, we continued the land to the south when we decided to turn and skirted toward the north, where we found a small island that we had sighted earlier. So we anchored off the coast and sent a small boat onto that land. We had seen many people coming to the seashore, but they fled when they saw us approaching. Several times they stopped and turned around and looked at us in great wonderment. We reassured them with various signs, and some of them came up showing great delight at seeing us and marveling at our clothes, our appearance, and our whiteness. They showed us by various signs where we could safely secure our boat, and offered us some of their food. We were on land, and I shall tell you, my majesty, briefly, but we were able to learn about their lives and their customs. So they came on land and they met the people. And they said the people was afraid of them and went to running away. So they went to basically trying to communicate with the people, letting them know that they hadn't come for war, but they had came for peace. So already the black people was looking for war out of white people. So already it was a war going on, like it was wrote on the Codex Magellan Chiano, you know what I mean? The one that they found in Guatemala. You know what I mean? It shows the different Mayan kings slaying all of these white people. And this is way back. Mayans were what? 700 AD, even the white people would lie and say. So that's even, you know what I'm saying? Let me see, 800 years before this even happened. So 800 years before this, we were already at war with white people. And we knew it. There had been legends. When you see these people killing, that's what we was taught. But some of us were curious. Some of us wanted to see for ourselves. Some of us didn't believe the old customs or believe the old legends. And this is what they said about us. They go completely naked, except around their loins they wear the skins of small animals like martens. Now the animal that they talking about is minks. Niggas was wearing minks in the 1500s with a narrow belt of grass around the body. That grass they talking about is hemp. They'll say it by name, hemp. They didn't know the name of it when they first said land, but they was taught the name of it by the Indians, the black men, to which they had various tails of other animals which hang down to their knees. The rest of their bodies was bare, and so was their heads. Some of them wore garlands of birds' feathers. They were dark in color. not unlike the Ethiopians, with thick black hair, not very long, tied behind the head in a black small ponytail. As the physique of these men, they were well proportioned and of medium height, a little taller than we whites are. They have broad chest, strong arms and legs, and other parts of their bodies were well composed. There is nothing else except they tend to be rather broad in the face, but not all of them, for some we saw with angular faces. They have big black eyes and an intensive and open look. They are not very strong, but they are very sharp and cunning, and are very agile and swift runners. From what we could tell from observation, in the last two respects, they resemble the Orientals. They're talking about the people of ECOWAS, Cambodia, of India, the black Naka tribe that the Buddha and Jesus Christ was a part of. That's who they're talking about. Particularly those from the farther Cenarian regions. Yeah, the Cenarian region. Burma, they're talking about those areas. We could not learn the details of like the Philippines and all of that. That's what they're talking about. We could not learn the full details of their lives and customs of these people because of our short time we spent on land, due to the fact that there were so few of us men, and the ship was anchored on the high seas not far from these people. We found other people on the shore whose way of life we think is similar. Now these people look different. The next motherfucker they found was light skinned. You hear me? Light skinned niggas. Do you hear me? And they're gonna talk about it. So what you think about that? What you think about the first conquistador that came, Delaware, Virginia, and all that, saying that these people look like Ethiopians with thick black hair?
I think a lot of intelligence shit.
Bullshit, so you don't fight for your land and know who you are.
These whatever fairy tale stories of evil people let down. Like the psychological battle of people, they win. But they not telling us, not letting us know that we've been we originate. I mean,
the Aboriginal American people, the big faces with the stone heads shows you that in Mexico. The oldest people that they got here is called the Olmec-Zs, and those are black Asians. That's basically the same tribe as the Buddha. The Shang-Li dynasty, La-Z. The Chinese oldest tale is of a black man who was of the Naga tribe, and we went all over the world spreading love. They called this place Atlantis. Did you know that California was ran by a black queen named Califia?
I ain't know that.
Huh? Still named after. I'm gonna read to you about her and her legend. But not right now. We're gonna talk about what these white guys discovered as soon as they came here. And I'm gonna show you where the racism started also. Okay? I'm gonna show you how much money we had and why they were so jealous and why they had to conquer this place. I will now tell you, King, and describe the situation and the nature of this land. The seashore is completely covered with fine sand, 15 feet deep. The beach, which rises to form small hills about 50 paces wide. After climbing farther, we found other streams and inlets of water, which come by into several mouths, ponds, and lakes, and follow the ins and outs of the shoreline. Nearby, we see a stretch of country much higher than that of the sandy shore, with many beautiful fields, plains full of great forests, some sparse and some very dense. And the trees have so many different colors and are so beautiful and delightful that they defy my description. And not to think, Your Majesty, that the forests are like those in the Hyrcanian forests of the wild wastelands of Scythia, of Scythia, and of the northern countries of our lands full of common trees. They are adorned and clothed with palm trees, laurel, cypress, and other varieties of trees unknown in Europe. And these trees emit sweet fragrances over large areas, and the nature of which we cannot examine for the reason stated above. not because we find it too difficult to get through the forest. Indeed, there are nowhere so dense of a forest that can be impenetrable. We think that they belong to the Orient by virtue of their surroundings, so our houses tent. They describe the tents now, looked like the agent's house. The ones they saw in India. And they were not without some type of narcotic and aromatic liquor. So we had beer and weed. You hear me? We had beer and weed. Do you hear me? They were not without some type of narcotic. Marijuana, coca leaf, you feel me? And some type of aromatic liquor. Huh? Some type of beer that smells real good and tastes real good. Some type of wine. There are other riches like gold, which the ground of this color usually denotes. So they knew when they seen the sand that they knew gold was under the sand. Just like every other place on earth that has sand, gold is under. There is also an abundance of animals, stags. Now they claim they brought horses. Do you hear me? White man claim they brought horses. You hear me? Look it up for yourself. Look it up for yourself, black people. The white man claim they brought horses to America. This is the first animal they named. There is an abundance of animals, stags, stag meaning horse, deer and hares, and also lakes and pools of running water with various types of birds. They did not have running water in Europe. This is the time of the Black Plague. This is the time when they was running around shitting on themselves and dumping it outside. Everybody had some type of diphtheria, some type of dysentery disease. This is where they get hepatitis from. But at this time, we had running waters, we had beautiful lakes, we had gold and various types of birds. And this is what they saw. This is what they thought when they saw the birds. They were perfect for all types of delights and for the pleasures of hunting. This land lies 34 degrees on a parallel with Carthage and Damascus. You hear me? I need to look at the map, but I'm pretty sure what they're describing right now is Florida. You feel me? Or the Carolinas. Carolinas or Florida, you feel me? Somewhere with a lot of trees, but a lot of beaches. They describe the palm trees. Palm trees don't grow nowhere but like in Florida and California, you feel me? You gotta be subtropical weather for that. You feel what I'm saying? The air is sublubrious and pure and free from the extremes of hot and cold. Gentle winds blow in these regions, and the prevailing winds in the summertime, which was at the beginning when we arrived here, are northwest and westerly. So they said our winds blew from the northwest and the west. The sky is clear and cloudless with infrequent rain. And if it occasionally a south wind came through and brought clouds of murkiness, they were dispelled in an instant, and the sky is once more clear and bright. The sea is calm and unruffled. Its waves are gentle, and although the whole shore tends to be low, there is no harbor, but it is not dangerous for sailors, since it is quite distinctly without rocks. The water is deep, and at least 4 or 5 paces from the land, it is 20 feet deep. Damn. Whatever the tide, and this depth increases and relates to the distance from the shore. With these good coastal conditions, no ship distresses in a storm and should perish in these parts unless she has broke her ropes. So they try to figure out how to invade right now and bring the ships in. You know what I'm saying? Because they jealous of the landscape. They jealous with all these fruits and all these drugs, all this medicine. You know what I mean? They were very jealous of what they saw. Alright, they're finna describe the next set of people in which they saw. We sent one of our young sailor women ashore to make the people some trinkets. Take the people some trinkets, such as little bells, mirrors, and other trifles. And when he came within 4 fathoms of them, he threw them the goods and tried to turn back. But he was so tossed by the waves that he was carried up onto the beach half dead. Seeing this, the native people immediately ran up to help him. They took him by the hand and the legs and the arms and carried him some distance away. Whereupon the youth, realizing that he was being carried by the sea like this, was seized with terror and began to utter loud cries. We was crying because we saw somebody about to die, and black people wasn't like that. You feel what I'm saying? We ain't want to see a motherfucker just die. They answered him in their language to show him that he should not be afraid. Then they placed him on the ground in the sun, and at the foot of him, a small hill, and they made gestures of great admiration, looking at the whiteness of his flesh and examined him from head to foot. They took off his shirt and his shoes and hose, leaving him naked. Then they made huge fires next to him, placing him near the heat. When the sailors on the boat saw this, they were filled with terror. Also, some of them, when something new occurred, they were scared we was going to eat them. And they thought that the people wanted to roast them for food. I told you. After the remaining with them for a while, he regained his strength. So we nursed him back to health and showed them signs that he wanted to return to his ship. With great kindness, they accompanied him to the sea, holding him close and embracing him as to reassure him. Then they withdrew to the high hill and stood watching him until he was in the boat. They sent their kid up there. And they knew we wouldn't attack and kill the kid. You see what I'm saying? The youth learned this about the following tribes, that their skins was dark in color like the other tribes. You hear me? Dark in color like the Ethiopians. That was the first tribe they described. So it's like them. We got more Ethiopian looking niggas, right? Or what we call now niggas. American black niggas, right? African Americans, right? We got more of them, right? Listen, they want to lie about this shit, Scody. They are dark like the other tribes. Their skin is very glossy, shiny niggas. I swear to God, it's us. They are medium of height, and their faces are more clear cut. Their bodies and limbs are much more delicate and much less powerful, but they are more quick-witted. These was vegetarians they was running up on. Yeah. He saw nothing else. We left this place, and this is a Giovanni footnote. We called this place Annunciata from the day of arrival, and we found there an isthmus 1 mile wide and 200 miles long, in which we could see the eastern sea from the ship, halfway between the west and the north. This is doubtless the one which goes around the tip of India. China and Carthage, this dumb bitch still thought it was in India. You hear me? Yep. This, because he said it's undoubtedly the one. We sailed along this isthmus, or Little Lake, hoping all the time to find some straight or real promontory where we could land and end to the north, where the land might end to the north, and we could reach those blessed shores of Carthage. They still looking for Carthage. Dumb motherfuckers. This isthmus was named by the discoverer Ferenzanio, just as the land we found was called Francesca, after our King Francis. Still following the coast, which veered somewhat north, about 50 leagues, we reached another land which seemed to be more beautiful and full of great forests. Now they're getting up north. They're somewhere like New York. We anchored there, and with 20 men, we penetrated about 2 leagues inland to find that the people had fled into the forest. Searching everywhere, we met with a very old woman and a young girl, 18 to 20 years old, who had been hiding in the grass. The young woman had 2 little boys. Had 2 little girls, excuse me, on which she carried on her shoulders, hanging and clinging to her neck was a boy. They were all about 8 years old. The young woman also had 3 children, but all girls. When we met them, they began to shout. The young woman made signs to us that the men had fled into the forest. We gave her some of our food to eat, which she accepted with great pleasure. The young woman refused to eat anything and threw it to the ground. She was mad at the old lady, like, bitch, don't you know this our enemy? You know what I mean? We took the boy from the old woman and carried back to France. So they stole the child. The first kidnapping is the kidnapping of a black man, a black little boy from America back to France. And we wanted to take the young woman also, who was very beautiful and tall. So they wanted to rape this girl. But it was impossible to take her to the sea because of the loud cries that she uttered. So they were scared that the men was going to come back and kill their ass. So they ain't fuck with her. And we were also a long way from the ship and had to pass through several woods. We decided to leave her behind, but only took the boy. We found that these people were whiter than the previous ones, meaning they was light-skinned niggas. And they were dressed in certain grasses that hung from the branches of the trees, and which were weaved into different threads of wild hemp. Light-skinned weed-smoking niggas. Their heads were bare and some and in the same shape as the others. So they was light-skinned niggas.
Right.
On the whole, they lived on posters.
Because they was in the northern region.
Right. Not just that, they was mixing with other tribes. It was different races here. There was niggas though. Right. It was all niggas, but it was different races of niggas like in Africa, bro. You always had different races of niggas in Africa. No, not tribes, races, nigga. Motherfuckers with phenological differences. You know what I mean? Same people. Yeah, same people though. We're gonna keep it 100% real, but they are different. They look different. These niggas was light skinned. They had curly hair. They wasn't just nappy heads like us. Like the niggas in the South. You feel me?
Right.
These more the Puerto Rican looking niggas. Like what we call light skinned niggas now. Like red bone niggas now. On the whole, they lived on posters which were abundant with different from ours in colors and size, but excellent and have a delicious taste. Otherwise, they were hunting fish and birds. So these northern motherfuckers ate meat, which they catch with bows and snares. So they had traps and bows. They make the bows out of hardwood and the arrows out of reeds. At this point, they put bones in it of fish and other animals. The wild animals here are much more ferocious than in Europe because they are being continually molested by the hunters. We saw many of their little boats made out of a single tree, 20 feet long, 4 feet wide, which were put together without stone, iron, or any kind of metal. For in the whole of the country, in the area of 200 leagues that we covered, we did not see a single stone of any kind. They did use fire to burn the wood as much as necessary to hollow out the boat. They did the same for the stern and the prow so that they could set sails through the waves on the sea. So we already had sailboats. This land was like the previous in one situation, fertility and beauty. The woods are sparse and the land is covered with different types of trees, but they are not so fragrant. Since they are more northerly, it is cold. Right, told you there was going on. And saw the many vines growing wild, which climb up the trees as they do in Caisopine, gall. They would doubtless produce many excellent wines if they were properly cultivated. For several times we found dried fruit that was sweet and pleasant, not unlike our own. The people must value them because wherever they grow, the bushes around them are removed so that the fruit can ripen better. We found wild roses, violets, and lilies, and many kinds of flowers that were different from ours. We did not find about any of their houses, as they were in the interior of the country. We think from the many signs we saw, they are built of wood and grasses. We also think from various conjectures and signs, many of them who sleep in the country have nothing but the sky for their cover. We learn nothing more of them. We think that all of the others of the country we visited earlier live in the same way. So they're saying we was all basically living the same customs, we just look different. After staying here for 3 days, anchored on the coast, we decided to leave because of the scarcity of ports, and we continued to follow the coast to the northeast, sailing only during the day where the casting anchor was at night. Yeah, these motherfuckers, they went around, they erased our history. Totally. See that shit? I'm gonna read a little more a little later on, but I want you to describe what you think of what I just read. What you think about the various things that I brought up in that?
I feel like this title is a statement title for an artist and of the fact that we've been alive so many years or so many decades with this
Do me a favor, Al. Do me a favor, Al. Pull your phone back and talk louder. Don't talk into the mic because you're making it pop.
My bad.
Yeah, just pull it back a little more. Right there. Now talk. You can talk loud, though.
I feel like everything that you just read to the people is extremely vital to the future and our history is just on who we are, the strength that we do hold, and who we really are. We've been lied to too many years.
Why do you think this is not taught in school? Why do you think if they re-educate us in school to make us think we are slaves to Africa anymore?
Because we are the chosen one. We possess a certain power that is strangely vital to the world.
I believe that, but I don't believe we are the chosen one. I believe the reason why they done that is so you don't know who you are and won't fight for your land. It's brainwashing. It's mind control. Right? It's psychological warfare, as they call it now. It's a psyop. They won't put it in the books in school because then the little black kid is going to say, hey, they describing me. I can read some more. Look, they finna read the next people. Look, I'm finna read the next one. These was rich niggas. The first one was about 40 years old, and the other man looked to be 24, and they were dressed just like this. The older man had his naked body covered in stag skin, so he was wearing horse skin, skillfully worked like a damask, with various embroideries, and his hair was bare, and his hair was tied to the back with various bands, and around his neck hanged a wide chain decorated with many different colored stones. The young man was dressed in almost the same way. These people were the most beautiful we had seen, with the most suitable customs we had found on this voyage. They are taller than we are, and they are of bronze color. Bronze, nigga, the color of copper, brown, nigga, us. Some tending to be more, some tending to be more towards whiteness or light skin, and others tending to be more tawny or black. So you have all shades of niggas right there. That's what I'm saying. The face is clear cut and their hair is long and black. And they take great pains to decorate it. The best barbers in the world is North American black barbers. It's always been that way since the white man first came in this bitch. North American black barbers, boy, we created the fade, nigga. We created the mohawk and all that shit, I promise you. Nobody do it like us, man. Nobody was fresh to death in minks and wearing turquoise jewelry and diamonds and shit like us. That's why we so turned up and turned out on that shit now. But now our enemy is selling us back our own culture. And he's criminalizing parts of our culture like marijuana, like hemp. They criminalize our culture to lock us up because they don't want us to read this. The Voyages of Ferrazano. Dead V. Giovanni. That's fucking dumb. Now look how long we've been on Earth. Look how much shit we done looked up. I done read all of these different books. The Bhagavad Gita, the book of Coming Forth by Day. I've read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I've read, man, every book you can name. The Mahabharata. I've read, man, the Book of Emanations, man. I've read the Sefer Zikra. I've read all of these books. I've read the Bible, the Quran. I've read the Torah. I've read the original books. I've read the entire book of Enoch. I've read so many books, the Numa Elish, the Atrahasis, but why wasn't this book before me? Before right now? That's my question. So if you go around and you read this to black people, what you think their reaction going to be?
What the hell you crazy?
Why? Why? If you read this this is from Yale University. I showed you that. This is what they teach the highest echelon of white power. This is what Skull and Bones is at. Yale University. They got the skull of one of our fucking chiefs in Yale University right now. Skull and Bones Society, man. Do you hear me?
Hey.
We studied that back in 2008, 2006, 2007, 2004, 2003. For real. Secret societies. Now you understand why. It's certain knowledge that needs to be kept from the people. So what do you think is the cure to this dilemma of lack of understanding of who we are? How do you propose we go about disseminating this knowledge to our peers in a way that they can understand it and use it in a positive way to better their own self-image? How do you think we can go about doing that? Explain it to them. And don't put your mouth close to the mic. Pull the mic off and talk loud.
I feel like most definitely music is our scapegoat, is our voice. No matter if it's hip hop, whatever we do, that is our voice to reach the world, right? Leadership, generation followers who have no leadership.
Boy, pull it off your mouth, bro. All you gotta do is pull it back. It will stop popping and it'll come so clear. We have a generation of followers.
We have no leaders. We need more leaders. I feel like the people who would have the knowledge, like me, you, our other brothers who be affiliated with the social, who deal with, I feel it's on us. We have to do whatever we can, whatever we have to.
We are in a position, but we are in a position where we are still learning ourselves. There has to be a massive movement of re-education by our people. These lazy, stupid niggas gotta stop chasing the white man's world and pick up some of these old white man written books and read about the people that they first discovered, if they want to have any understanding on who they are. You understand what I'm saying? And they gotta pick up them old Mexican codexes. And they're going to have to learn to decipher the Mayan calligraphy and the Mayan alphabet and to read it for themselves, because people have to realize that these people are us. But how do we get it?
14-year-olds. Who gonna touch those 15-year-olds?
But how can you touch? Hold on, check it out. Here go a real question. Bro, here go a real question though. How you gonna touch that 14 and 15-year-old when it's the Jewish mafia that runs music?
Exactly the same dynamic.
Say it again, cause you popping.
It's the same dynamic. That's exactly what it's the same dynamic. You gotta get through to the youth.
My point is this. If you saying we gotta get through to the youth, what's the avenue? Because you trying to go on the avenues that's already been circumvented by the enemy. Music is totally circumvented by the enemy, man. They not finna listen to you, period. They totally brainwashed that these niggas that wear these pants up their booties and these tight high heels and feathers and fags and shit. That's
you gotta start working through the community. Period. You gotta start moving. You gotta start, setting up shop.
I think the answer is what I used to do on a larger scale. Old niggas and the people that know gotta get the books and take it to the youth and sit them down and pay them to listen, feed them and do whatever they need for that moment just to get that information to them and teach them about themselves and let them read it themselves and discover it. And if they can't read, the old niggas need to sit down and give them some help. But this is what I did to disseminate the information that I had learned back then. This, to me, was the most effective way. You get what I'm saying? Because I taught over 2,000 people. This is the most effective way that I found. So if we got 40 brothers, each trying to teach 2,000 people the true history of the black race in America, then we got a chance. If we all got a unified agenda to disseminate this knowledge, to pass out these pamphlets, to make these phone calls, to get people to tune in to the Blackfeather radio show, to holler at BlkJesus, to holler at Young L, to see what's really going on, you know what I mean? I think that's
that avenue that you're talking about is through, voice and communication. That's all we got. We gotta spread the word. You're doing the right thing. Academically on every level. We need more we need this in Canada. We need this in Florida. We need this in New York. We need this in Chicago. We need this in We need this thing everywhere.
Yeah, we need this in every city and state. I agree. We need it in every city and state. We need people to be serious about educating themselves. Do you understand that trading with the white man is what actually destroyed us? That it was not a ballistic war, so to speak. We were conquered through trade, through customs. We adopted the white people's customs, and they took all of our riches and sold it back to us. This is what's happening. But we loved their culture so much and was so cooned out back then, thinking everybody our friend. You feel me? When we should have listened to the ancestors, we should have looked at those old codexes, all that stuff we put on those bases and in those caves and in those books, showing us slaughtering the enemy, not befriending them. Now, if they would have burnt and cooked that white man that they got on the shore, if they would have just burnt him like white people have burnt so many black people when they first came, they would not be here now, I bet you. But because we showed them brotherhood and love, because this was basically like a Buddhist society, man, and we live by the laws of nature here. They totally destroyed that, and they totally destroyed our memory of our culture. So we would have to rebuild the culture. How do you rebuild a culture? Through education. How do you educate the people that don't want to be educated? You gotta bribe them.
That's the battle. The battle is getting our people back.
This is what I want to do. I want to find a way to where we can get our own radio station, our own manufacturing facilities, our own broadcasting facilities, our own film studios. And I want it to be not in America. And I want it to be a place where we can take our youth, the ones that want to learn, and teach them. Teach them the arts of guerrilla warfare. And the art of guerrilla warfare is no longer with the gun. Your gun is not a camera. Your gun is now that iPad. Your gun is now the ability to look up these old records and do this research and help us find all of these different descriptions of these people that were looking like Ethiopians, tall and bronze, and the people of God. So they said Indios. That's what the word Indios means. People of God. That's what they knew we were. From what their Bible said, a Bible that they had to force on us to even believe. We didn't believe that shit. These people over here were already speaking Jewish. I got proof that the Indians spoke a Jewish dialect. They spoke a Jewish tongue, and they wrote in a Jewish, what they call BlkJesus writing. Yeah, but we're going to get back with y'all. I'm going to take a little break. And me and my homeboy going to get back with y'all on a couple more topics and let you know what's going on in the mind of the real black Indian, the real original American. Okay? So this is BlkJesus, my homeboy Scully.
Signing out.
Signing out, baby. See you later.